Hi class, this is Mrs. Cornett, and in this video I want to show you when and why an inequality sign will flip. Why is it that sometimes a less than symbol switches to a greater than symbol and vice versa? Before I work an actual inequality and graph it for you, I want to just explain to you some basic facts about an inequality in algebra. So the first question that I have is, do these inequality statements remain true if we add or subtract a number to both sides, the same number to both sides? So for example, the first one, 8 is greater than 6, but let's say I added 6 to both sides. 8 plus 6 is 14. 6 plus 6 is 12. The inequality sign will stay the same. Is 14 greater than 12 still true? Yes, it is. On the second statement, 2 is less than 10, what if I subtracted 9 from both? 2 minus 9 is negative 7. 10 minus 9 is 1. The inequality sign stays the same. Is negative 7 still less than positive 1? Yes, it is. And then if I do that one more time, I can add 100 to both sides. 0 plus 100 is 100. Negative 3 plus 100 is 97. And do you see that that's still a true statement? 100 is greater than positive 97. So the reason I show you this is because we can add or subtract any number and the inequality statement will still remain true. My second question is, will these inequality statements remain true if we multiply or divide by a number? And so first I want to show you, let's multiply the 8 is greater than 6 by 2. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 6 is 12. And the statement remains true. 16 is greater than 12. What if I take that same inequality and multiply it by a negative 2. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. We'll bring down the same inequality sign. And take a look at that statement. Negative 16 greater than negative 12. Is that a true statement? No, it's not. Negative 16 is smaller. And so something happens when we multiply by a negative number. Now this is not true. The way to make this statement true when we compare negative 16 with negative 12 is to switch the direction of the inequality sign. Okay, take a look at the second statement. If we divide both of these numbers by a positive 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 10 divided by 2 is 5. When we compare 1 and 5, 1 is still less than 5, and so the inequality statement remains true. So let me take the same statement and divide by a negative number. 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. When you compare those two numbers, we cannot put the less than symbol back in because that less than symbol, negative 1, is not less than negative 5. So again, what I'm trying to tell you is that anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, the inequality sign has to switch for the statement to remain true. And so now where the inequality sign was less than, now it's going to be greater than. So here's the main point of this video. If the coefficient of the variable is negative, which also means if you divide or multiply by a negative number, then the inequality sign flips. That is the big message of this video. So you have to really pay attention to the coefficient of the variable if it's negative or positive. Okay, let me show you some examples that you may see on your web assigned homework. Take a look at question A. It's negative 9x is greater than or equal to 27. Divide both sides by negative 9. That is x. And then 27 divided by negative 9 is negative 3. Because we divided by a negative 9, the inequality sign switches direction. That's part 1 of your answer. Part 2 of your answer is to graph on the number line. This is a less than or equal to, so this will be a bracket on negative 3, and we'll shade everything smaller than negative 3, which is to the left. Look at question B. 5 minus x is less than 7. The first thing I want you to do is subtract 5 from both sides. It's negative x less than 2. Now we'll divide both sides by negative 1. This is x. 2 divided by negative 1 is negative 2. And because we divided by negative 1, the inequality sign switches direction. That is part 1 of our answer. Part 2 is to graph on the number line. X is greater than negative 2, so we'll put a parenthesis on negative 2, and we'll shade to the right because that's all the values that are greater than negative 2. C is negative 1/3 x greater than 2, so we'll divide both sides by a negative 1/3. Now remember, when you divide by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So the negative 1/3 divided by negative 1/3 is just x. Dividing by negative 1/3, that's really 2 over 1 times negative 3 over 1, which is negative 6. Because we multiplied by the reciprocal negative 3 over 1, the inequality sign switches to the other direction. Then you come down and graph it on the number line. We'll put a parenthesis on negative 6 and shade everything that is smaller than negative 6, which is to the left side of the number line. Okay, let me show you one more on this video. Question D is negative 16 minus 2y is less than or equal to negative 28. The first thing I want you to do is add 16 to both sides. This will be negative 2y less than or equal to negative 12. Next, divide both sides by negative 2. The negative 2's cancel. Negative 12 divided by negative 2 is positive 6. But again, because we divided by a negative number, the inequality sign switches directions. This is part 1 of your answer. Y is greater than or equal to 6. Come down on your number line, put a bracket on positive 6, and shade everything that is greater than positive 6, which is the right side of the number line. Okay, that's going to be all for this video. I hope it makes sense to you, and I hope that you're able to recognize anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, that inequality sign will switch directions. So please let me know if you have any questions.